Carol, can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes, is my picture not on?
No. Oh, there
Oh,
we go.
now it is.
Hey,
Hi.
Carol. Love the background.
Oh, isn't that cool? I have very cool family.
Oh, that's awesome. What is that, a poster on the left I'm seeing?
Yes, yes, my sister made it for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know, and she sent it to me. I'm like, oh my God, that is really cool. So I thought I would share it with everybody.
Yeah, I love it. So how have you been? Thanks
And
for
she's
coming
on,
on.
and she's watching,
Oh,
so
she is.
she's
Shout
probably
out.
happy that I hung up.
Shout out to Carol Sis.
Yes.
So how have you been?
Good. Is it this has been wild.
Really?
Just yeah, like a crazy ride. The last time something this big happened for me personally, like where it was like off the charts, I did Eminem's music video Stan,
Yeah.
and they played it on everything. And my phone rang off the wall. It was crazy. Like on the Grammys, they put that scene on the Grammys with Eminem and
Wow.
playing the piano. And literally, I was getting called into offices that for things I wasn't even right for. I was like,
Oh,
and people
really?
would say, "Oh, I just have to meet you because you did Eminem's music video." Like, you know. So this has that same kind of, you know, it's so
Feeling.
funny because you can do like plays on Broadway and all this stuff, but when you do something this, this visible in the world, it's crazy. So it's been super fun.
But this isn't your first hooray in games, is it? Like you've done some.
It's not my first foray in games, but it's my first foray in mocap.
It is. I was going to ask you that.
And you know what's so crazy? This is the craziest thing. The beginning, they take about 2 years to complete them. 2 years ago, I was like, this for this year, it's the only thing I haven't done. And I'm like, I want to do mocap. And people were like, oh, yeah, that's interesting. I'm like, no, no, I want to do mocap, you know. And
Yeah.
literally, this was the first thing I auditioned for.
No way.
So it's just the craziest story that was like kind of meant to be. It was just this sort of, definitely in the stars. Literally, it was a matter of like a couple of months. I'm like, this year I'm going to do mocap. It's just,
That is so cool.
yeah.
Um,
And if you're an actor, mocap is like a gift from heaven. It's it's an easy fit. I've been acting, a long time since college. So I've now told everybody, you have to do mocap. It's just an easy fit for an actor.
well, it's that blend of theater and on screen, isn't it?
It completely is. And, I have a large voice background. So I've been doing voiceover for a long time, as long as I've been acting. But this was the first mocap. And
Isn't
to
that
be the
crazy?
first one and to have it be this, it's just
Well,
insane.
this is the second biggest game of the year in terms of sales, don't you? Just behind Call of Duty. You know that, don't you?
And that's my next one on the list that I'm putting out there into the universe. Um, it's
Yeah.
been such a gift and such a wild ride and so much fun. My niece, who's also on this call, she's a gamer. So it's been cool, that it's something we share and it doesn't get any better than that. It's like, you know, it's just super fun. And super fun that I don't look like her.
Lynn here says, "Oh my God, you're gorgeous, Carol.
Oh,
Absolutely gorgeous."
that's sweet. Well, I guess with the hag's picture in back of me, you
Loved you
know,
in Resident Evil. Loved the Hag.
oh,
Uh,
as I think I might have mentioned to you, it's weird. I went and looked at my audition script and it was, the prophetess. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. You know, wise, determined. Uh, like I forgot about that because then, you never get the sides.
Mm.
You never get the sides of anything anymore. I auditioned for all this TV stuff and it's like, oh, it's actually Marvel. It's like, what? It says like Anne on, like
Yeah.
nothing is, everything is an NDA now. And so
Yep.
I had no idea.
Really?
Honestly, no idea. Even at the table read, no idea.
So when did it come together that it was Resident Evil for you? How long in?
Oh, pretty long in for me. I know a lot of people knew Todd, and Todd, oh, I love Todd. Todd was, all my I was just with Todd.
Yeah.
After the table read, I was just with Todd. So he was so wonderful to me. You know, I know he's been doing them for years, and I'm like, Todd, he's like, I got you. He goes, you don't need any help. You know, it's just, it's the technical stuff more than anything. But I had been really biting at the bit, and I've done so much dance as a, as a student,
Mm.
knowing that I was never going to be a dancer, but all that dance just helps you in mocap. I mean,
Mm.
years of every dance imaginable, you know. I actually, this is kind of a funny thing. I auditioned for Universal Studios years ago. I wanted to be a stunt person.
Really?
Yeah, I
Right.
went up for that Ma character, and I got pretty far. It was one of the flips that kind of I went. It's me and flips are a little strange, but I got pretty far. Yeah, I just have had this thing of putting movement with acting. So it was kind of an easy fit for me personally.
So when you're on the mocap for Resident Evil, are you hunched back over really getting into it? Yeah?
The entire time. And I showed up at my audition like that because I saw the age on there and I went, but she wasn't as evil. There wasn't that laughter wasn't there and any of that. And but Steve said to me, how are you with the hunch? I'm like, ah, the hunch is not, so it was super, it was just, it was like a glove,
Really?
and uh, like Rosanna, who I adore, the producer, she said to me, like, I'm gonna just give you a redirection just cuz, I just had so much fun with it. She is one of the most wonderful people to work for, especially because we worked during COVID and stuff.
Mm.
She took such good care of us, like I was family,
Oh,
and
that's
I will be
amazing.
forever grateful to her for this.
I've heard a lot of people say that about her. Just that she was a real pleasure to work with.
Oh, and everything was talk about crossing your T's and dotting your I's. You
Mm.
know, you could really be honest with her. In one of my scenes during COVID, I actually wore a shield, and then did the voiceover in the studio because it was right in that crazy time,
Mm.
where we were like, what is going on here? Because we worked through COVID.
Yeah.
And she's like, you can keep the shield on, and everybody will keep their shields on, if that will make you, I mean, just, they were so great. It was, I'm telling you, it's all I want to do now. Just is mocap.
I know, because it's a bit infectious, isn't it?
For an actor, it is.
Yeah.
It it's the perfect blend of being creative.
Mm.
You have nothing. And so you're going with your instincts and you're creating it all. And those crows, I had a lot of work with the crows and that was kind of fun. And my stick and all that stuff was just
Well, you get to play characters that you might not play on the screen, hey, as well.
not yet. No. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, my whole career, I've gone after characters in this
Mm.
realm. I've done a lot of horror films,
I know you have.
and it's just a thing that I'm drawn to something that isn't. I've never been a here's your papers, Mr. Smith. It's just not me.
Mm.
They're not going to hire me for that. They're just going to get somebody. I'm not really that serviceable kind of actor. I like to, so I go after the juicy stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Why do you think
I
that
go after,
is? Why have you done so many horrors? Do you think is there?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Honestly, I think it's because, you know, somebody sees one thing.
Yeah.
You know, one of my very first TV shows was Dallas, that show Dallas. And on the show, they did a close up of my face on the screen, just my face with for my audition, I put Worcestershire sauce in my hair because I didn't know any better at the time. But obviously, they didn't do that when I shot it. But
Yeah.
on the screen, the close up of me screaming. So that kind of set the path of I was in the drunk tank, and they did this
Yeah.
really. My face took up the whole screen, and I'm like, I think that was a path for the whole, like it led the career.
Right.
I'm just drawn to interesting projects, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. You've done a lot of them too, which I will try and get to over the next little bit. I've got a question here from Sean who says, "Salutations, Carol. Your performance in Resident Evil 8 was exemplary. I did have
Oh.
one question for you. Did the term hag seem a bit harsh for you?"
Well, Sean, originally she was the prophetess, which I thought was wonderful. When I saw that on my audition script, I'm like, oh, that's me.
Mm.
I'm so giving and warm, and I like to help people. And about midway through, it said on the paper, AKA the hag.
Ah, okay.
Guys, what's this? And it's fine. I don't care. It, I understand it, and it's certainly,
Mm.
I don't care. You can
No.
call me anything.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I come from a family who never called anybody by their names. All my uncles had names like Putty. And I mean, like nobody had a name. So I'm kind of used to not answering by Carol. Um, my brother-in-law calls me Rudy. I mean, it's crazy. So Hag, okay.
Well, you grew up in New York, yeah?
In New Jersey.
New Jersey, yeah, yeah, yeah. But you're in LA now?
I've been out here a long time. Yeah, a long. LA actually fits me better, which is kind of an interesting thing. But my family's still back there, so I go back a lot. But
Is it
it's
the
funny.
lifestyle or what? What suits you better?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I went to NYU, so I started my career in New York. I was
Mm.
actually working while I was in college. I was doing some soap opera stuff. Um, and I, I almost wish I had come out here just a little bit earlier. I love it here. Who
Yeah.
wouldn't love waking up to this? It's the sun. You feel like
Yeah.
you're on vacation.
Really?
All,
Yeah.
yeah, it's great. So
Kisma, you were amazingly creepy in Resident Evil 8. Thank you, Carol.
you're welcome.
And that's a compliment. I mean, it's a compliment.
I know it is.
Carol, you did an amazing job. I love rewatching your scenes, but I wish there were more from Solar.
There was one more, and then it got, as happens, it gets reworked, and I wish so too. Um, but it's not my story. It's Mother
Yeah.
Miranda. But thank you for that's a compliment, and
So
you know,
you can't tell us what that extra scene is, I'm guessing?
well, it actually had a lot to do with the crows.
Ah,
The
okay.
crows were,
Right.
but and of course there's no crows. So you're trying to find the crows. The crows are coming on your arms, and yeah,
Right.
but
Okay.
they work so diligently on these scripts. It's amazing the precision on every detail. I
Mm.
mean, everybody's there. There's nothing, and I also direct voiceover, so I am like a stickler of detail, and I was like so impressed. Everybody's there. There's not a stone left unturned. There, you can always discuss something. It
Mm.
just it's exactly how you as an actor hope you can always work with
Oh.
some. There's Steve was great. Like there's input, you know, and I'm sort of an actor's director, so I'm not like I've never shown up at a set and go, this is my performance and this is it, you know. I
Mm.
actually brought the laugh to the table. There was no, she never laughed on the script.
Really? Because that makes up half the character for me. That laugh, and knowing now that you were the one behind it a little bit. That's cool. I like that they give you a little bit of leeway and a little bit of
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the beauty, isn't that, why you hope you're getting hired, that you bring something to the table that, I always think in all animation, honestly, every character should have a laugh. Whether it gets used or not, it's part of, you
mm,
know, we all have our own laughs. So,
mm.
I'm just a big believer in that. And to me, it's funny, you do it. I just did it one day. And then they were like, okay, now it's in now
It's in
it's in all
every
the
scene.
yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah.
run it back.
Laugh louder, laugh, yeah.
uh, so,
It's
how did the voice come about? Is this a voice you had in your back pocket the whole time? What? How did it all?
it's an interesting thing. I forget what year it was. I did Side Effects with Steven Soderbergh, and she was this creepy. We all got cut. That film
Oh,
was,
really?
I worked
Yeah.
on it for 2 weeks. We were all like cuckoo's nest. Like they hired a bunch of us and we all had individual parts and we all worked for 2 weeks with all this great stuff.
And you all
And then
got
they kind
cut.
of, it all got cut.
Really? Yeah.
We all got paid and I'm still making money on it, thank goodness. But yeah, you know what? They shaped it into kind of a different movie and there were so many wacky characters in that movie.
Mm.
And so this character, she didn't have that creepy voice, but she had that kind of a posture and
Mm. Bit of a
um
same vibe.
yeah, definitely, because we were in a mental institution. It took place in a mental institution.
Yeah.
And Steven Soderbergh was so kind to me. He said to me, listen, we're gonna do what's on the page. Do you have any ideas? I go, oh yeah. And if you didn't think I had an idea that made me the star of the show, so I made this whole scene up, with me just doing more. And because originally she like climbed on the window and licked the window of the mental institution. And he didn't like that. He said, I don't want you licking the window. Do you have any other ideas? I said, oh, I do. He said, let's just see what they are. So Jude Law was in my scene with me and he said to me, I got you. I'll follow your lead. And it was one of I'm getting chills talking about it because it was truly an amazing experience. Rooney Mara was on the other side of the glass,
Wow.
and I was supposed to be like her, what she could turn into, because she was in the mental institution. So like her alter ego.
Mm-hmm.
So I had made up this whole backstory for her. And Jude Law comes walking down the hall, and what he's trying to do is to get me back to my room. And I had made up this whole story. And he was, and to this day, I call him one of the kindest, most generous actors. We improv
Really
this whole scene. And then, of course, you have to do it over and over. But because I'd kind of written it in my head, it was easy to
easy.
do over.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I'm going to share this because so after we did it, we did a lot of takes of it, close ups, the whole deal. We were done and I was crying and all this dramatic stuff. And I went to kind of go chill out. I went to find a place after we cut. And he came to find me, Jude Law. Like he went out of his way to come and find me to talk to me about the scene. I To this day I think about it and I have such admiration for him. He didn't need to do that.
Nah. Yeah.
To say, I hope they keep it in. What a scene that, just nice things.
Mm.
And I'm like, who does that? So I've been nurturing, I did this other thing, The Witch in the Window, which was this creepy, and I, of course, was the witch. So she's been nurtured kind of over the years
Yeah.
of you know, but the mocap lend itself another color,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
right.
the the stuff on the, she drags around this stuff with all this stuff on it, and the altar scene blew my mind. When I saw
Oh, I
the
love
altar,
that scene. Yeah.
I, I, there's people in my life that still don't understand it. I got a text this morning, that makeup job on you. I'm like, like they still think it's me in the makeup. I'm like, it's not me in the makeup.
That's funny.
Yeah. And but when I saw the detail in that altar scene,
Mm.
I just flipped. I went, ah, ah. They're telling you what it is, but you have nothing.
Can you
You've got pipes.
Yeah, yeah. Are you seeing, like, when you're rewatching that scene, are you seeing your facial expressions? Like, can you remember doing those? Is it
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you're doing a lot of takes of stuff, because which I really appreciate. And Todd told me that, which I adore. I just adore Todd. He was so helpful to me, and he said to me, "We'll be doing it again. Don't worry." And again. And I'm like, I'm good. I've always been an actor. If I am the happiest when I'm on set, or in a sound booth, my two favorite places. So I never, to this day, I'm not jaded about the work. I love working, you
Yeah,
know.
that's awesome.
Now I just want to do mocap.
So, is the voice something you can turn on? Because there's a few people here asking for the voice to come out. Is it something you can do out of the blue or what?
It's what's my line? It's only a riddle if you don't know the answer.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you credit because every scene you are in, you can't help but look away as the player. You're just captivated in it, and not many actors could pull that off. I'll tell you right now. So, my
Very
kudos
sweet.
to you.
Thank you. I think they need to make, I just kept wanting to go back there. I was like, does she come back? Does she turn into,
Yeah.
but honestly, you don't really know the story.
No.
We were all at the table read, but it's so far from the table read to when you actually, see it, that you're like, I don't remember that. I actually sat next to Maggie. This is kind of a funny story. I sat next to her and I loved her voice. And I said to her, she was new in town, and I said, listen, here's my phone number. I said, if I can help you in any way, you have a magnificent voice. I said, and I know you don't know people, and I know what it is to be new somewhere. If you had ever told me, uh, because we're all reading, but you don't hear, you don't know that it's going to transform into that. I'm so happy
Wow.
for her. She was lovely, you know,
So you've met a
and
lot of the cast, or what?
I only met them that day.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
crazy thing. I met Sarah, who I know you interviewed, Sarah read with me at my audition. And
She
so I know
loves you, by the way.
I she was so warm to me at my audition, like an actor. You know, when somebody, I always say to people, don't you want actors to give you the best performance?
Mm.
Then help them give you the
Be
best.
nice and, yeah, be open.
They were so, Sarah is, oh, that's who she is. She's warm, and she's as talented as nice. And so she was there. So I met her that day. And then I met Neil Heisenberg, came to work after me one day, and I just was he was so nice. Talk about talented and
It's
handsome.
annoying, isn't it?
What? Yeah. It's so, and Todd. So I feel sort of left out of that group that got to do all those scenes together. I'm like, oh, I wanted to play with them, you know, and because I want
Because
to
you
do
just
the
loved it.
gun. Excuse me.
You just loved it, eh?
Oh,
Mm.
the you can't. I would be driving home like wanting to go back, and it
Mm.
always felt like, can I stay longer? That's really honest. It's very it's very freeing as an actor when you get to create like that. Because before that I had done Wasteland 3, which was great. I love working. And that's like 14 pages of dialogue. It's you in the booth by yourself.
Going at it, yeah.
And, you know, I'll tell you what I've sort of done with my career. So my manager also has something to say about it. Like she said to me, listen, you need an updated TV credit. You need a new TV credit. So let's get you some TV. So I did Good Girls, where I played some drug person, person transporting drugs in a truck. But so I kind of go after what's what's in front of me, but I've always done that. Like I never just did one thing. I actually was acting and I tripped onto voiceover. Like literally, my agent said, "You're right for this. I'm going to send you in." And it was my second job and I made $30,000 and I went, "Gee, I think I'm going to like focus on voiceover." So I, I've always stayed in all of the genres. So whatever kind of, you know, for when I was in New York for a couple of years, hanging out with my mom, and all this film stuff. That's when I got Side Effects
Yeah.
and Deliver Us from Evil. That's another one.
Oh, I got to talk to you about that.
Deliver Us from Evil is going
Yeah.
to be the next Exorcist. That's what they were touting it to be,
Yeah.
with Bana and Edgar Ramirez.
Eric Banner, an
And
Aussie. Another Aussie.
right, right.
Yeah.
And he was in my scene, which of course got cut. Um,
Oh, no.
I had this great creepy scene in a jail cell. We were in a real jail cell. Like I was on the dirty floor
Oh.
eating food off this tray, and I'm like, guys, can you just put it on like a lunch tray for me, please? Like it was really gross.
Oh.
But I mean, there were three of us kind of creepy people, and so this character's kind of been nurtured.
Yeah.
So to finally see it kind of come to fruition and not end up on a cutting room floor is really exciting to me.
Right.
And
Now it makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's nothing more fun than that. I kind of have always gone after the, dramatic and like, look, I know that I'm not a desperate, and I'm not the desperate housewife lady. And so when you find your road to travel in, you're like, I'm going to take up this, that's my lane. And so it's been, great for me. Sometimes in LA, people sort of want to stay in like they want to stay in that category of the desperate housewife. I'm like, absolutely not. Let me take all the work of the crazies, the creepies. So it's, it's super fun.
Well,
And
it's better to be typecast than not cast, isn't it?
better to, or how I feel, better to accept, you know, when I was younger, going right out of college, I had a few people say to me, "You're going to work a lot when you get older." I knew I was a character actress. It's not like I was, they try to mold you into something. And I'm like,
Right. Yeah,
now it's a
yeah,
different time. Now you can have 85 piercings and pink hair, and we have a series for you.
yeah. Mm.
But it wasn't like that.
No.
And so I just kept nurturing work. And I worked a lot, and I work a lot in voiceover. So it always kept me working. And then I started directing voiceover, which made me a better voiceover artist.
So you direct voiceover for what sort of projects usually?
I used to direct all the promos for when it was UPN, shows like Moesha and Eddie, Legacy.
Ah.
I directed all those promos for a couple of years, which was insane because I was directing and running to auditions. I mean, I never stopped. I just didn't want to stop acting. So I'd be trying to direct talent in
Right.
the booth Yeah, it was a little crazy, but it actually, I got to work with everybody. I mean, Kevin Michael Richardson, Steve Bloom, Carlos Alizraki. I know all these guys.
Really? Wow.
So, yeah, because
Isn't that
they
funny?
all were doing promos before they were doing cartoons.
Yeah.
So, Maurice LaMarche, Pinky and the Brain, they all would come in. And I was like this new young director going, oh my goodness, I'm directing that person.
Mm,
But because I was already doing voiceover, it was an easy fit for me.
right.
And so I just always threw it's like, I'm going to do this now, just so I could keep working. And it's, I stopped doing the promos because I didn't want to be in a studio for 16 hours a day when you're
Yeah, it
directing
gets too much, yeah. Yeah.
with no windows.
Oh, yeah.
My
Claustrophobic a
friends
little
would be
bit,
going,
yeah.
are you meeting us? I'm like, I have to get it approved first, and you're like, it's
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah,
So,
I like that freedom.
so for Deliver Us from Evil, that was Scott Derrickson, yeah? Who went
Yeah,
on to do Doctor Strange, right?
the day the
Marvel.
earth stood still too. Yeah,
Wow. Did
I
you see that
know.
talent in him? Do you think he was going to go on to that sort of?
He was so lovely to me at my callback. He said to me, because my manager didn't actually know who he was. And she said, are you sure you want to do this? You keep doing these creepy. I said, look him up. Do you not know who he is? And so I was in Manhattan for that. And he said to me, I already cast you. I just wanted to meet you in person.
Oh, that's cool.
I know that's it. When people do that, you're like, Steve actually did that to me at my callback for this.
Really? Yeah.
He said, we kind of want you if you want to do this, but I wanted to meet you. You don't have to, I saw what I need to see. I mean, they just, you know, when you feel that freedom like that, it doesn't get any better than that. It's not always like that, but when it
No.
is, you know.
Yeah.
So I definitely knew who Scott was.
Yeah.
So I've been fortunate. I've gotten to work with the Steven Soderbergh. I mean,
You've worked with
you
some
know,
pretty acclaimed directors. Yeah.
it's and I on Good Girls, I just worked with my first woman director.
Oh,
I've
nice.
never worked with a woman.
Isn't that crazy?
It was really crazy. I was like, this is bizarre. I'm working with a this and I went, you've never worked with a woman before, isn't that it's a little weird, but and she was lovely, Lee. So it's just, it's taken women a while, I guess, to kind of get their credits going. But I've been fortunate. I've had some really interesting um whether I ended up on the cutting room floor or not, the experiences. I'll tell you a kind of a crazy story. So I did Miami Vice, and who do you think was my partner in my scene? James Brown. How insane is that? Right?
Wow.
It was my
Yeah.
second job, and I'm like
Unbelievable.
sitting across from James Brown.
Your second
And
job.
it's my second job, and
Were you
everybody,
just nerves out of the
uh,
roof?
uh, you can't even know.
Oh,
Like, uh, and I'll tell you why I was more nervous. Everybody flew to Florida, and I mean everybody. I looked out on the soundstage, and I'm looking at Whoopi Goldberg. Everybody wanted to see him work. They didn't come to see me work. They came to, and so I was just like, this is this is insane, you know. So it was quite an experience that day. He was lovely,
mm,
not a little bit, you know,
really?
uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but to have that be an experience where you're like, oh, I'm working with James Brown. So I've
Yeah.
kind of found myself that's been sort of my path of it's not like I sought it out. It's just sort of happened that way. And it's kind of a cool thing, where you feel like you have those experiences of people that you either admire or they're icons. And you get to be in their presence,
Mm.
and it's fun,
It must be weird though. People that you know that are famous or and then working with them and trying to be professional. You know what I mean?
Well, it's only weird if they don't reach up to your expectations,
Right.
like
Yeah.
I always loved Jude Law as an actor. I just did. And so when I worked with him that day and found him to be as nice as he was talented, I went, that to me is the perfect,
Is he your new
mix.
favorite actor now?
Well, that was a lot, wasn't yesterday,
No, it
but
was
at
yeah,
the time, I was like, if
yeah.
I see him again, I'm gonna tell him. I mean, those as an actor, you know, y- y- those are the experiences that you just you hold on to and know that you're gonna pay it forward also to people when you know whenever you're in that opportunity, when somebody goes, oh, you're doing that, and you're like, you know I know some people that have been like, you're on Resident Evil, and I know them personally. I'm like, yeah, but we're all still the same people, you know what I
So,
mean?
so with your friends and family, you mentioned your niece was a gamer. So, did she was she happy when you told her, or what? Like, what do your immediate family and friends think about this?
Well, I couldn't say anything for, you can't.
Yeah, no, you can't. Yeah.
That was so hard for me not to tell her. The hardest thing ever. And I'm very close friends with a sound engineer, and I couldn't tell him either. He's a big gamer. And I was like,
uh,
so when it got released, I sent him a picture the day that, and he's like, I mean,
yeah.
screaming.
Oh, that's
Like,
awesome.
he knew I had done a project, but I never talked about it. But I kind of never do. And I'll tell you why. When you get cut in things, which ever happens to every actor, you start not to tell people. Like, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go
Right.
do it. I'm gonna go do a voiceover job. And because, in the beginning you tell everybody. I told everybody about when it's your first, and then you get cut and they're like, where were you? I didn't see you.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so I don't tell anybody anymore. I just don't until it, so when this came out, and then my niece texted me and she's like, you're on, some guy put you on his, what do you call that, on YouTube, on the, oh gosh, I was like the picture on the, um
What do
oh
you
my
mean?
gosh, on, the day it came out, someone took this picture and
Yeah.
put it,
Yeah, you know who
I
that
can't,
was? Me.
it was you.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
No, I did a video with all the characters and the actors next to each other. Is that what you're talking
Oh yeah,
about?
I know you did that. I know
Yeah.
you did that.
Oh, okay, okay.
I think he's from Ireland, I think.
Oh, okay,
No, I
okay,
would have known. I've been watching your stuff. I would no, I
okay.
saw what you did. I saw what you
Oh,
did.
okay, okay.
So, she doesn't like horror. She plays games and she plays a lot of games, but she didn't like the horror in it.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm gonna tell on her, but she hasn't played this game. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna get you the game. She's like, yeah, don't do horror. Like, okay. Which my sound engineer friend Elliot, he said, Carol, it's really dark. Like,
Yeah,
it's great, but it's, so
yeah. Uh,
yes, it's exciting.
Kisma here says, Carol, you're an amazingly charming person. Thank you for being here and thank you for your incredible work.
Oh, thank you.
Um, Smith's fan says Nicole Tompkins said the whole cast was in awe of your performance, Carol.
Oh, goodness.
How's that? That's not a bad compliment.
No. Maybe because nobody, I didn't work with any of them. They all saw each other working.
Maybe, yeah, maybe that's why, right?
So I probably was like, I never met Michelle. I
Really?
always,
What?
isn't that crazy? For
Oh,
those
man.
that don't know, Michelle is Mother
So
Miranda.
how did that scene work where, you're coming in and out? Sort of that
You just get told kind of what the dynamics are,
right?
but I never, you know, sometimes we decided who was going to do, you know, sometimes it was like, is she doing this line or am you didn't really know that, but no, I've met her online. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow.
It's, when COVID hit, it kind of put everything in a little bit of a, the rules were so strict that you definitely weren't working, you know, everything was spaced out. We had bins that you had to I didn't bring anything into the studio. Everything was really, a very
Tight.
black and white. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So did
Yeah,
you?
so I didn't meet her. I said to Sarah, I can't, well, I hope I can now work with everybody that I haven't worked with that I've now seen in their clips and stuff. But it's crazy.
Well, I know
It,
Steve, the director, performance director. He watches these. So Steve, you're listening. Make sure you get Carol back for 9. Resident
I
Evil
love
9.
Steve. Oh, Steve is, it's just like, you just feel like you're with a friend, you know?
Yeah.
He's open. He's an actor's director. You're just like, oh, there wasn't, and I have nothing to, everything was just so great. I mean, COVID wasn't great, you know.
No, but
Um,
it actually sounds like this was like the perfect project because all the actors I've had on say the same thing. They just had a blast.
it, well, especially for me, because I didn't really know, like I think I heard some girl, I think it was somebody, I forget who it was, it said, it might have been Michelle saying, no, it wasn't. She didn't know Todd either. I don't, no, she knew Todd, but she didn't, so when she saw him at the table read, she was like, because there's nothing in it that's going to give it away. So I had no idea. I was really in the dark. And I'm pretty good, like if somebody says to me, don't say anything, I'm really that person that doesn't tell
No,
secrets. So for me, I've signed so many NDAs. I'm like, and then you
it's
forget
just a
about it.
second nature. Yeah.
You have to forget about them. You go, okay, we'll see if where this goes. And I had no idea, like no idea, until we got one email. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Um, but again, I just kept, because I thought I'm over telling people anything because then if you end up not in it, they're like, what? I thought you were in. Am I going to see? You're like, you know, every actor, especially in Los Angeles, has been to a premiere where they've invited people and you're not in the film.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
that's got to be.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't bring anybody anymore. Now I just go and see if I'm still in it, or I'll say to somebody, "Tell me if I'm still in it." Um, I actually text my sister lives on the East Coast, and I go when Good Girls aired. I sent her a text. I said, "Oh, just so you know, my Good Girls is on tonight." She said, "You're telling us this now?" I said, "It's on in 20 minutes. Let me know if I'm in it." And so she writes me at like 10 to 11. She goes, "You're in it. You can watch it." It was kind of,
uh, yeah,
she
yeah,
goes, "Why didn't you say anything?" I said, "Because, you don't want
yeah.
to keep, yeah, every
I
actor has
understand
gone,
it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
Every
a little,
actor's gone through it. Yeah. So, did you know? Were you told the whole time that your character was really Mother Miranda? Was that like the first thing you knew, or you didn't find this out till a while in, or what?
no, we kind of knew that, but
Okay.
it didn't have, like I knew it, but I don't think I understood it.
Okay.
I understood kind of, oh, hey, we take shape. Okay. She's a shapeshifter. Okay. But I didn't know how, I didn't know where she was going in the story. So I
No.
had no idea. I'm like,
Which must be difficult, by the way.
honestly, I wish I could have been there for that heart scene. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
that is something I wish I was on set for to see
Mm.
how that was done. And
So that
yeah,
was all voice, I'm guessing, that scene, yeah. For you,
yeah,
anyway, yeah.
you're just like, so a lot of times you don't know past your scenes because nobody really remembers. You do the table read and then it's a year and a half later, that you're going, so you don't really, I don't remember any of what I heard at the table read, really. I just remember some of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all, yeah, so you really don't have an idea that much,
Yeah,
but it's
right.
pretty cool because they really do. And Steve was really good about this is this and this is this. I'm like, oh, okay, it's yeah, it
So
was,
all your scenes, Todd's in front of you the whole time.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah, and he was really helpful to me because sometimes he had done so many of these, and
Yeah.
I just felt the freedom as an actor to, they're like, cover the space. I'm like, not a problem for me. Like I was that kid in college, honestly, at NYU that climbed on furniture in the room. Like I was balls to the wall. That's just
Really?
what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what else was I doing there? You know what I mean? I think one of my friends is here. We went to college together and we were both working. She was dancing professionally. We- So we were like, our parents want us to get these degrees, but we're going to just do our thing, right? So, I mean, we did crazy stuff there, just crazy. I remember climbing on furniture in the room, climbing over things, because I think there's a part of me that knew once I got out there, I would feel less safe to do that. Less, not safe, less, yeah, less safe. Like I wouldn't want to take that chance. Although I'll tell
Right.
you, now the pendulum has swung. Like now, I just feel that freedom to.
So you don't get embarrassed at all. You can do anything, and you don't feel anything.
No, I honestly don't.
Wow.
I I think that comes from experience,
Yeah.
or it. I've done crazier things in my family, like, you know, and my sister's on this call, I think, and she can, vouch to it. But I love, I really love to work. And so
I can
anytime
tell.
I get a chance to sink my teeth into something,
Yeah.
I try to go as deep and as not as big, but as deep, and to see what else is there. What is there that's not on the page? That's fun for me. I'll tell you a little thing. So the character was howling. Whoo! Whoo! Yeah. So she no longer howls. And when that and when the howl, when we cut the howl, that's when I added the laughter.
Ah, okay. Right.
So although I have to tell you that I love the howl. Um, but you don't want to lead with creepiness. Creepiness should come out of, I think it's much more interesting if it comes out of what you're doing, not something added on. So I think it was a really smart
Is that why
choice.
they cut it, you reckon?
I think it, I, th- I think I probably, I don't know this. I think I just probably looked crazy. Like,
Too
you
much.
know,
It was too big, you think?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
can't really answer that, but I was just like, I loved it because, it's so
It's
freeing.
different. Yeah, it's different.
Go and,
You can't
I
even
was
do
just howling around my apartment. Oh my God.
Oh.
Something really funny happened the day before I went to work. I was, in the posture, kind of walking around my apartment, just because, you stay in that posture,
Mm.
or I do anyway, just
Oh,
because
really? Wouldn't your back
well, you
hurt?
have to remember I mean, not while we're eating lunch or anything,
No.
you have to kind of remember the level, how far down you go, kind of thing. And so I was practicing the posture around my house, and I fell over one of the steps in my apartment. And I laughed so hard, and I went, I don't care if your foot is broken. Like the minute it happened, and I found myself flying into the air, I'm like, holy crap. If I break my foot, literally, we were working the next day, and I
So
went,
fun.
you're putting ice on this foot, and I don't care if you're bandaging it with toilet paper. You're going to cover it up and show up there. But you know
Were
what?
you
And I was
worried?
fine.
Were you worried, or you're?
only for the second when I was flying over the
Yeah.
set. Um, it actually was humorous to me.
Yeah.
I went, of course you're going to do this before you go to, I always tell people the craziest crap is going to happen to you as an actor. Our lives are so uh, they're not predictable.
No.
So I didn't expect that to happen. And I'm going to tell you, I would have showed up there there was no way I wasn't going. So I was like,
No.
okay, puts a little bit of ice on it, you're good to go. You know,
I can't, I'm trying to picture you just hunchback around your house and then falling. It's quite funny to think about, but
it's all
uh, yeah.
it's a little crazy, but I'm kind of known for my pratfalls, honestly. I've booked a few jobs falling into rooms. Like I'm a little bit clumsy. Um, I
Same
was
here.
auditioning,
Same
going
here.
to a callback for a commercial, and girls like to put a lot of junk in their bags, their makeup and everything. And I walked into the room. There were like so many people there, like 15 people for a commercial, and I had to play the piano. And I walked in and my sneaker, it sort of hit the floor. Anyway, I went flying and my bag and all the junk fell all over the floor. And it was embarrassing, but to me it was funny. You got mascara flying across the room, all this stuff. And I just started laughing and I said, I forget what I said, but I made a joke out of it. I booked the job. And I I think what the story about that is that you just have to accept who you are. I didn't freak out. I wasn't proud of it. I didn't plan it. It's just the way.
I love
What are you
that.
going to do? You're going to
What
be
are you gonna do?
upset about it?
Mm.
I made a joke about it. I actually picked up all the junk, threw it in my bag. I said, I'm famous for my pratfalls if you want to include any of those in the scene. I
That's
made a
great.
joke.
That's great. That
What are you
probably
going to
helped you
do?
get the job, besides the
I don't know.
incredible talent. But no.
Just disobligate. What's the worst that could happen? I thought, what's the worst? I actually didn't think I was going to book it
Mm.
because my piano playing is minimum at best. And but I can play the best Little Rhapsody in Blue you ever heard, but that's about it.
Well,
So of
play to
course
your
that's what I
strengths.
brought. Excuse me?
Play to your strengths, eh?
Well, that's yeah. My sister's a pianist, but I'm like the fake pianist who can, if I get a piece and I take it long enough, I can learn it. And so that's what I did. And I couldn't believe they gave me this job. I was like, this is all I can play, just so you know. And yes, they actually handed me a book with with a piece in it. When I got to set, I'm like, I can't read that piece. And I had to come clean. I'm like, I can't really sight read that piece that quickly. And the guy's like, just look like you're playing it. Play with the right hand. I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Ah, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
Ari here says, I know you're a big horror fan, Carol. Is there any horror franchise that you'd like to be a part of in the future?
Good question. As much as I hate to admit this, I don't know we'd say that Marvel was horror, but I turned down a Marvel job.
What?
I didn't
Sorry,
know it
sorry.
was. I
Can I
didn't
hear
know it
that
was
again?
Marvel.
Okay.
I
Okay.
know. But the truth of the story is,
Okay.
my mom had just passed, and I booked the job, and I was here, and it was January in New York, and I didn't know it was Marvel because I told you, you audition, you have no idea what it is.
Mhm.
Like it has fake names on it,
Yeah.
and I just said to my manager, I don't have a flight in me. I just don't. I had just come back. It was a pretty emotional time, and
Fair enough.
I
Yeah.
and she said they're willing to. They want you. What will you? It was like I said, just pass on it. I don't want to get them pissed off. Anyway, this went on for like a week. It was crazy, and I kept saying, please just say no. And she said, well, the casting director slipped and it's Marvel. And I said, honestly, and this is the truth. It was I want to do Marvel, but the character died And if I want to do Marvel, I want to do a recurring character on it. Honestly, at this stage of the, so there was no chance she was going to come back, and I would get this Marvel page where the character who just dies that day. It's like, so it wasn't something that I felt in the scheme of everything. But I would love to be in a Marvel show. I think it would be super. I see myself in several of them, and so I think that would be fun.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know, there's still
100%.
that stunt girl in me, that wants to. I want to fight. I want to do gun stuff. You know,
Yeah, we got to get
I
you in a Call of Duty, hey?
yes, that's I'm putting that out into the, you know, and I actually did voiceover where they do Call of Duty. And I said, "Oh, this is a sign." All the Call of Duty posters were all over the place, and I'm like,
Yeah,
"This is
this is one step in
uh,
the right direction. Yeah.
yeah, and I think vocally, I have a low voice, and so my whole career, voiceover wise, started, Cowboy Bebop, all that stuff was in the lower tones.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got known in that world every time, in that anime world, once you're known, you don't even audition. They just call you up and it's really lovely. I don't do that work anymore, but at that time, they would just call you up and go,
And you
"Hey,
really,
you're right for this." And I had the best boss. I mean, I worked for them for years, just
you
doing,
did a bunch of shows, didn't you? Yeah.
more than are even listed because when
Really.
when anime, it was all non-union. And so we would like go in and sign names like Peach Fuzz. I mean, we would like write make up like they don't care what you call, It was a million years ago. And so when my niece came into the picture and she turned out to be like a gamer and a anime, 'cause she's a big anime girl, I decided that I really wanted my name on stuff because I knew it would mean something to her. She's a big anime. She doesn't really like the the English dubs,
She prefers
but
the Japanese, yeah.
yes, and only really watches them, but she watched mine,
Oh,
but
that's good.
like the Cowboy Bebops and the
Yeah.
Triguns, stuff like that. But yeah, which I understand.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to direct. I'm creating an anime with a group of people.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, for
that's
the last
exciting.
last 2 years.
Wow. Any names
Yes, it's called
attached at the moment?
Lei Gong. Well, it's funny. It depends who you ask, right? Because we thought, we got names and, but when they want names, they want celebrities.
Oh, okay.
We have Yuri Lowenthal attached. I don't know if you know who Yuri
Yeah.
is.
He's incredible.
And so we would be at meetings with people
And they don't
going,
know him.
"We have Yuri Lowenthal." And they're like, "Oh, good."
Really?
No, they know him. You can't not know Yuri. We have Yuri and his wife are both in Tara. And
That's a strong
Yuri's been
cast.
so gracious with us. He was in at the beginning of it. The character was created around him. And so he's been so lovely, whatever you guys need, because it takes a while to get a project like that. We've done the Anime Con, Comic Con, you know, I can't do the Comic Con thing for me is insane. So I send the boys. I'm like, you
Too much for
go, and
you?
it's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm a little claustrophobic,
Especially
and
after COVID, it probably won't make it any better.
yeah, and I Anime Con did me in, and Comic Con came after it, and I said, guys, yeah, you go. I'll I'm
I'll
with
take a
you in
back seat.
spirit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when we got Yuri, I was like, we've arrived. And they're like, if you can get a celebrity name, I said, like who? Like, they
Is
want
this the
celebrity.
producers of like networks or that you're talking to or what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Netflix and, but we've had some guidance from some big people, that have said they think that we'll do better in like Singapore, that the kit would do better there. So, all of us, there's four of us involved, and we all are doing, one of the guys draws for The Simpsons. that drew all our artwork. So he's got his day job, you know. Everybody's
Everyone,
got
it's a
a.
side job for everyone. Yeah,
It has to be till it gets sold,
yeah,
you know. So one of the guys, has some babies. One of them's getting married, So life happens, and you have to. But we spend time with it. We the characters are fabulous. I'm gonna play, Aunt May, you know, some crotchety old woman, and so it's uh, it's just a matter of getting somebody to go, yes,
yeah.
here's
Right.
the money.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm a firm believer that you have to start creating.
No, I love that you're doing that. Yeah, you got to. You got to always
And
create, don't you?
the crazy thing about this project, it happened one night. We were in a sound booth, a few of us, and they were ordering. One of the guys is from Singapore, and he was ordering Chinese food, and he put on a really heavy accent to order it, and we were all laughing. It was just one of these. It was late, and everybody was like crazy, and out of that came a character, and out of that came a series.
Wow. Yeah, it's
When
just like that, isn't it? Sometimes, organic is
it's
sometimes the best.
Yeah, so so that's in the you know
Mm.
my friend and I are working on a podcast. You know, it, I think if you're a creative person, you have to create.
Yeah,
You know,
hundred
it's
percent.
it's in the
It's in the blood.
it is in the blood.
I agree. I'm the
It
same.
it is. Yeah, you're. I love your. I watch a lot of your shows, and I find them so informative, and you're so warm and welcoming, and
Thank
they're
you.
fun to watch,
I
which
appreciate it.
tells me that you like what you do.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Uh, Carol is one of the most amazing actors and also very professional. Very proud of you, Carol.
Who said that?
um,
To pay them.
will you do more voices in the future? Because you're amazing, Carol.
Yes, I am. I'm working on something, but of course,
Can't
you
tell
can't talk
anyone.
about
Is this?
a
Can you tell
video
us
game.
what it is? It's a game. Okay.
The game. Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, with low boy, it's, I'm going to tell you, I don't get hired. I mean, when I was doing all that anime, because when you work, they, you become like this little group of people that work. So they'd say, Carol, pick up that, that 5 year, pick up that little girl. And you're like, okay. And I also I used to do a lot of looping.
Mm.
So when you do looping, sometimes the client will say to you, you have 4 contracts. And so it's you, another woman. So you get used to pulling these voices out of your back pocket.
Yep.
I cast this movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? And then they ended up voicing in it. And then they only gave me 2 contracts for the director's cut. And they're like, no, 3, me and 2 guys. I'm like, there's little girls in there. And they're like, you just do all the voices. So you end up building your own repertoire just because.
Mm.
But I'm kind of known more for the lower voiced, you
Yeah, yeah.
know, it's, it's, I always say, let the people that's what they talk, that's who they are. There's enough work for them. Let them do them, and I'll take all the other, I'll do the other.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Right.
I think there's enough work for everybody.
Is this a big game or what do we know? You can't say anything. I don't want to get
I,
you in
I,
trouble.
yeah, I'm really good about, you
Yeah.
know, it,
Keep it locked. That's all good.
and honestly, half the time I don't know how big,
Yeah, it's
unless
hard to
I
predict,
share
isn't
it
it?
with somebody who does know. When I went up for Wasteland 3, I said to my friend Elliot, I'm like, "Did you ever play Wasteland?" You know, because I have to then get the feel of it, you know. So so then we were looking at clips, and so I'm always going to my gamer friends going, "Do you know this game?"
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. And but
Well, if you
Yeah,
need
the
any
Call of
tips, I'll tell
Duty.
you because I'm entrenched in the world. Uh,
Yes, I'm hoping to. Call of Duty.
Dan, yeah, is Call of Duty big, Dan? Not
I
asking
want to
for no
do. I
reason.
want
Yeah.
to do weapons and fighting.
Oh, I think you'd smash it as a
I
general.
just
What do you reckon? A commander, or something like
yes,
that. You'd dominate. You'd be a
yes.
force.
I feel it. I'm like, okay, I've got to put that out there because who knew that this was going to be,
Yeah.
So yeah, and I love, I feel like my mother would be so proud all those dance lessons. When I tell you that I took dance for a long
Is
time,
that what you wanted
knowing
to
full
do,
well,
or
because in New York, when you're training, it's very different than here. Everybody sings, everybody dances, and everybody's studying acting. It's not like it just was the thing to
you got
do.
to have it all, right?
You have to be this well-rounded person.
Mm.
And so it was just what we did. I didn't think, but I knew it wasn't where my strengths lied. You know, I auditioned for chorus line and I couldn't do a triple pirouette and I got cut, and that I was like, okay, I don't think I like this. You know, I mean, now triple pirouettes are a joke, because now everybody's flying through the air, and but all that dance, it's kind of humorous. I've seen it come in my life. The first commercial I booked was dancing, and the director
Yeah.
said to me, it's like somebody pushed a button, and we danced down the streets of Florida for this commercial. And I said, oh, I'm glad all this training, is coming. It's coming into play, of where it gets used.
Hmm.
It's so I don't know that there's always an immediate connection to it, but I understand it now, you know,
But you
in
don't
the
regret it.
agility.
You don't regret. No, not at all.
No,
No.
no. I wish that I had kept up with the piano more. That's my only,
Yeah.
regret, because really if I'm at my sister's house, it's sort of like, oh God, is she gonna try to play that piece?
Palumbra here says, question for Carol. Could you say Rose, Rose, yes, please?
Rose, Rose, yes!
Sorry, I can't help but laugh. Even though in the game it's very intimidating and
My
but
brother-in-law is now even doing
well,
he's
he's
doing
impersonating you, is he?
yes, he's impersonating me. Um,
How does he go? No good.
I don't know. He might be on. You can ask him to open his mic. Um, but he does the Rose line and the and the riddle line, which is one of my favorite lines. It's only a riddle if you don't know the answer.
Oh yeah. That's a
I mean, I
great
just
line.
love those. You know, it. Yeah, we went through a lot of different. There were a lot of different scripts, and I'm telling you, my audition script had none of this in it. None of. She was very. One of my lines was, "My life is faith." That was my. That was one of my audition lines. So I'm thinking, wow, we've come a long way from, you know, it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there was a lot of the glory to Mother Miranda, glory to Mother Miranda kind of thing. And
But she's really saying to herself, isn't
yes,
she? She's very, very self-centered when you think about it. Uh,
I know,
I mean,
a little
if I was a
insane.
shapeshifter, maybe I would do the same. Please tell Carol
You know, it's
that one of her students has no doubt she'll be back for more Resident Evil, even if they don't bring back the hag, because you were amazing. There you
oh,
go.
thank you.
Uh, GM says NDAs are so annoying. That's why I could never become an actor. I couldn't handle the pressure.
I do understand it. I understand that, and Todd actually explained this to me. He said, it's really true. It can kill a game. And, but I've been signing them for stuff for years that, you know, for everything. You really do sign them. I've signed them for small movies, you know. So
Hmm.
I'm so used to it now that I don't really. And I'll tell you, since we created this project, Lei Gong, when we would send it to somebody, we'd have them sign NDAs. And then I understood it.
Right.
Then I went, oh, we don't want them stealing ours. Oh, so you get it a little more when it's your thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It's a part of it. Is there any
Yeah,
project that you don't have to sign one on?
well, certainly theater. Um, I
Yeah.
haven't signed anything on theater. Um,
But there would
there's
have never been a
voiceover.
game or anime that you would have not signed one, surely.
No anime, but I will tell you, when I did a voice replacement on Lady Vosh in for episode it was episode 2, I think, in World of Warcraft, and that world was kind of new to me when I did that, and I wasn't sure why I was replacing and all that stuff, but I found out it was okay to do it. I didn't want to do something that I shouldn't be doing. I didn't know why the actress wasn't there or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
And but I got the green light from some people and they said, no, 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 she's cool. And so there were like 4 guys in a room when I signed my paperwork. And I'm like, it was really strange to me. I'm like, okay, here, and I understand it's all very, I'm not sure that would happen today. Now it would be like they email it to you, but I was like, this is very interesting, and I wasn't going to do anything, but,
That's a little
I
bit
was just so happy to be
intimidating,
there.
isn't it, though?
It's always intimidating. The thing that people don't realize with the video game world and stuff,
Yeah.
the last time I worked on Wasteland, you know, if they know you, you obviously don't get sent a script. If they don't know you, they'll send you sometimes a script to make sure you know. But so I show up, there's like 14 pages of dialogue, which is very common. You get the lines, and then come all the efforts. You know,
Oh, the efforts. Yeah.
pages and pages of efforts. So it's funny. I've been asking some kids that I know, I'm like, did you play the game? Because I'm supposedly get burned in a fire. I died in the fire supposedly, and I want somebody to tell me what it looks like. Because you're doing all these efforts of you're reading them, burned at the stake, throwing up, pages of
But they're the
them.
last things you do, aren't they? The efforts.
They're the last things
Yeah.
you do. Yeah. It's
Because,
funny for a lot of people, they feel like, oh, they're exhausted. For me, they energize me. I get in the
really?
car,
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah.
You're the first
Yeah.
person that said that. Wow.
Look, it depends how much the guys do a lot of screaming, you know. I'm still doing screaming, but you know, I my first job in anime was Shima in Gundam 83, and she was always getting driving these planes and getting blowing people out of planes. So I was kind of reared in screaming, out screaming out of planes, talking into jars.
Yeah.
So do we like it? No, but honestly, I've never lost my voice. You know,
Really?
now maybe when I do Call of Duty,
Yeah, that'll be the one. That'll be the one that gets you, I reckon.
I I know a lot of the guys won't do them though. They want to do them on a Friday so they have the weekend to, save their yeah, I never it maybe it's all that singing training, even though I'm not
Yeah,
singing. You know,
that would help.
it's it's I still vocally warm up before jobs. I mean, you have to. It's part of your
Are
job.
you a honey and is it honey and lemon or tea or what's the usual
No,
combo?
when I was singing, which had a short-lived career, my sister's a singer, and so I I never was going to be that person but I was trying to be that person, that would sing on Broadway. And I was so neurotic with the honey and the lemon that I wasn't having a life. It was always like, oh, I
Oh,
can't eat that. Oh, I
too much
shouldn't
of a
touch.
process. Yeah.
I was neurotic, and I finally went one day, and I remember the day when I called my sister and said, you know what? I think I'm going to focus on drama. I think I'm going to, and she was like, that's a good idea. Like, because it was too much. It wasn't fun. People that sing effortlessly, that's who should be singing. But I have a lot of singing training. So I think part of that training has kept my voice in shape.
Maybe there's a deleted scene with the hag singing somewhere. Something, hey?
See, you're putting it out into the universe. I like that.
You know they're doing a DLC, so you never know. You might be back.
I do. I'm waiting by the phone. I'm like, guys, I'm available.
um,
I want to see everybody. It's
yeah, I know.
uh, it's kind of crazy because it really. I saw Todd at ADR sessions. We would be coming and going during COVID and stuff, and that's kind of it. So it's so strange for me that I didn't see anybody since the table read. Only Neil.
It's
I met
bizarre.
him one day. Yeah, it's crazy.
Saber
So,
here says it's honestly really nice to see a seasoned actor talk so openly about the process and the business.
hmm, well, if you love it, it will love you back. That's the way I feel about it. I don't stay in anything that I don't enjoy. When I stopped singing professionally, like, going to,
Mm.
I never looked back. Do I love to sing? I do. Did it cause me? I was like, this isn't what this should be. So the interesting thing when you have a career that's varied, there have been times when I've went, I think I'm going to try to do film work now, which is what I did when I was in New York. I had a voiceover agent there, but I got really this thing to do film work. And my manager's like, let's get you some film work because there's a lot of money there, you know? And then I was like, oh, this is fun, So I kind of go where
What are you
it's like
feeling?
following your heart kind
Mm.
of thing. Like now I'm like possessed with wanting to do motion capture. I
Is your
just
manager like, can you stop? I'm looking. Please. Said-
No, I know her a long time and she's
uh,
great.
yeah.
She's just great. I have agents
Yeah.
but I know my manager a really long time and
Sorry. Yeah. The agents. Yeah.
she knows what I really do. She knows the kind of work I really love to do and what I do. You can only hope that as an actor that whoever reps you really knows what you do. They
Mm.
know at the core of what you like to do and so I kind of try to go after even if it's not like a huge part line wise, but it's really interesting. Why not? If you're free and it's not going to conflict with something else, it's so I've always kind of done that. I put it out, but now I'm just like, I was listening to somebody's podcast and they were talking about Call of Duty. I'm like, okay, it's out in the air now. It, because I want to do fighting. That was the only thing I wanted, I wanted to fight as her, with her stick.
Heck.
I wanted to
That's a
like,
different game. Yeah.
I know that.
No, but that's
I,
I love it. I love it.
I
People
just,
people also love that you're in Trigon and Cowboy Bebop. Got a lot of fans of those shows here as well.
yeah, yeah, which I didn't know until I knew.
Yeah.
Dominique was a cool character, Dominique the Cyclops. Just a cool, I'm kind of drawn to those. I like when they look a kind of a certain way. That was kind of important to me at the beginning, even though it's kind of silly, but I loved that look of them. I'm like, oh, if I looked
Mm.
like her, because you get to really be them, you know,
Mm.
you know what they look like, and you're like, oh, she's sexy and she's, shapely, and I like that, and for me personally, it helps me find the voice. You
When
know,
you can
I
see.
yeah, you don't always get that luxury, but when you do, and they used to laugh at me because I go, oh my God, she's so sexy. She, they'd be like, here's your script, like, but I like, I like the whole feel of it.
Could
I think
you?
that's the acting thing.
Did you see what the hag looked like when you? Did you know what she looked? No, really,
No, not at the get-go, no.
no.
But then there's a screen up there and you're like, you sort of have a little bit of an idea and you're like, oh, okay. But once she got nicknamed the Hag, I kind of had an idea that, that she wasn't going to look like the prophetess. it, honestly, I'm completely good with it. I
It's a character at the end of the day, isn't it?
But
Yeah.
you would be surprised. There's a casting director in New York, and when I first went to audition there, she sent my manager a note and she said, "Tell her please not to come with makeup on." And I'm thinking, I would never come with makeup on for that role. But they knew I was coming from LA. And I said to my manager, I would never wear makeup for that part. And I said, done and done. Like I was so happy, but I never would have. And
Right.
once I'm casting director, I said to her, she said, well, you're from LA. So I said, but originally I'm from here. You know, I'm a Jersey girl at heart. So, I never would have. It's just
Different.
the coasts are different. There's a
I've heard
big
that.
respect for the work in New York. Like when you're working in a room at an audition, you really feel like you're working. It's just different. You don't, it's like the acting is appreciated and you feel this
Right.
freedom. It's a pretty strange thing.
Right.
But because I've done both, I feel the difference. I try to take that into rooms here, but it's always very fast and furious here. It's more than it is in New York. It's like, it doesn't ever feel like anybody's in a rush.
Yeah. Right.
It's very interesting. There's
It's
such
like an
a,
unspoken rule, sort of.
yep,
Yeah.
that it's about the work.
Mm.
And it's always about the work. I've had discussions with casting directors. They're like, because if a casting director in New York likes you, they bring you in for things, and you're like, on every series they'll bring you in, and you're like, if and you go, I don't really feel like I'm right for this part. And so I would go though, of course, and go, you know, what do you think about, I'd ask questions
Mm.
like, where can I put me in that part? Right? How can I make sure that to try to book it, you know,
Hmm.
especially if they're like lawyer parts and stuff like that. I always want to bring in a part of myself that is really gonna gonna show them what I do, not what people think the lawyer. It's that whole. It's, it's like playing the stereotype. I've really not done that because it hasn't really been afforded to me to do that. Character actors just kind of pave their way with their work. And it's like, does that mean everybody's going to like you? No. Does it mean that when you get to whatever you get, it's just going to feel real? I was listening to Robert Duvall, who's this older actor who I just loved all his work, and I was listening to an interview that he did on a talk show, and he said, you know, it's about getting out of your own way as an actor. He said, it's not about putting on, it's about letting it evolve through you. And I went, yes, I understand that. You know, it,
Don't put anything on. It's got to be
no,
authentic.
it has to be the parts of you that you're letting people see.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm a lunatic. I don't mean that, but it's being free enough to show it and be okay with that. And that's kind of cool. Even when I did this anime called The Big O, and I played this character, Kelly Fitzgerald, and she cries because her husband gets killed. I mean, it's an anime. And I was really crying in the booth. And I could feel the director kind of like uncomfortable. Like, I don't think a lot of people do that, but I don't know how to work any other way. Like, I would have never, it was a very dramatic scene. It's one of my favorite things I've done, because
Was
her
it hard for you
husband
to
gets,
get there, or was it easy?
no,
No.
that's why I booked Eminem's music video, to be honest with you. They needed somebody who could cry on cue. And I said to my agent, that's it? They said, that's what they said. I said, well, that I can do, I mean, for me, that's a piece of cake. But literally, I went to the audition and just, they're like, okay, can you cry for us? I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And
And
I
that
mean,
was
it's
it.
crazy,
Yeah.
but that was it. And then, but the coolest part of that job, honestly, was being directed by Dr. Dre.
Did he direct
I,
that?
he directed it.
Oh my goodness.
And they were so respectful to me because, sometimes music videos, you're like, I don't know if I want to do this because you hear people say you're going to be there 14 hours, you're going to hate your life. And, but my people were like, you have to do this. It's Eminem. I'm like, no, I'm going to do it.
That
They
was at the
drove me.
height, nearly at the height of his popularity, sort of. Or
Oh,
mm,
it was crazy. They were so kind to me. They drove me to the cemetery. You know, I did my thing up on the hill. He was talking to me through a walkie-talkie with an AD up there, a guy helping me out. Cry less, cry more, do this, do that, do this, do that. For about an hour. And then they took me back down the hill and drove me back to my car. I was like, this is the easiest job. And he was so respectful to me. And one of the second AD guy up there said to me, they're not used to actors. You've just made
yeah.
his life really easy today. I'm like, this is like, I would do this, it was like a piece of cake. And who knew what it was, you don't know.
What, you didn't know
You,
the scope of that video would be?
excuse me?
You didn't know the scope of what the video would become? Like how pop. No. How crazy.
Nope. No, you get these sides and you're like, this is where you're crying. You're a mother crying at a grave. I'm like, okay, that I can do. And uh, this is what I mean. As I step into each world, that's why I like to keep expanding my horizon. I hadn't done a music video. So then to get Eminem's music, you know what I mean? It's just been a gift. And so when I decided I wanted to step into mocap, did I know it was going to be Resident Village Evil 8? No. So I feel really blessed that I am a believer in, what you put out there. I had a manager many, many years ago who said to me, when you put energy out into the universe, and I said, but when does it come back to me? I was a young actor. And she said, when it's supposed to. And I understand that now. It's like you put it out there, like I did with the mocap. It was just something I felt. I felt this very strong pull to do it. I wanted to put the outfit on. I wanted to have the head cam on. And then I went crazy. I'm like, okay, now I have to do more of this.
Oh.
Now I want to. Yeah. So if you don't expand yourself, how do you know what you're missing? Right?
Oh.
If you don't try, how do you know what you could be good at? Right? There were a few people that went, oh, mocap, okay, yeah, all right, like, and I would look at them, I go, well, why? Well, because I think when people think mocap, they think Call of Duty
Right.
only,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, there's a lot between Call of Duty and,
Yeah, yeah.
so, I just,
Oh, I hope you get the call back again for this, or even just in. I want to see you in more stuff, Carol. Really,
thanks,
you knocked
Dan.
it out of the park. You really did.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Um,
Love what I do.
is there any advice that you can give to upcoming actors or in any job really? It doesn't have to be acting; it can relate to anything. But is there any advice that you
Yes.
carry along your journey that you can?
I This is something I say to people a lot these days. I say, get off your phone and live your life.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, because what I see, and you see it at auditions, you absolutely see it. You see this disconnect. Acting is about listening and reacting. It's not about this. And that is my big, I say it at least a few times a week. I said, do not live on your phone. It's not a relationship. Yes, I have a smartphone, but but I love people. To me, you have to like people if you want to be an actor. Like, I'm completely fascinated by people. But my mom was, like it's sort of, we were bred that way. My mom used to come out and visit me for every birthday and stuff. And one time I took her to, we were at some carnival, and I went to get her an ice cream cone. And I'm like, where'd she go? My mother was like famous for, she would talk to everybody. And she was sitting on a bench talking to a homeless man, which of course freaked me out when
Sounds
I
like my
turned around.
nan. Yeah.
And I was like, Mom, like, I've got your cone, like, come this way. And she's like, I'm talking to this man. Like, but I was kind of raised like everybody loved my mom, so we were kind of raised with people, was talking to people, not, I don't have a relationship only with my phone. And I think that's the biggest advice I have for actors, because I see what it's done to their careers. I see the disconnect, you know.
Do you think
Acting
social
is,
media is a bad thing?
no, I
No.
don't, and I have to get better at it. My sound engineer friend said, when are you going to do that Instagram page? We're like waiting. I'm like, I know. But no, I don't think it's a bad thing,
Okay.
at all. I just think, if
Too
at
much of
all,
a good thing is bad. Yeah.
what I mean is, a friend of mine was telling me, he teaches at a college, and he said he was driving to his job one day, and there was an accident by the school. And he said he pulled his car over and jumped out of the car because it was very close to the college and it could have been a student. He said, no, there were more people filming it than going to help.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's this disconnect of, we're living our life in our phone. We're not living, to me, when I'm with people, we, now
Put the
that
phone
LA is,
away. Yeah.
well, yeah, I just leave it in my purse
Yeah.
because I'm so happy, especially now. You know, I was kind of famous for not doing a whole lot during COVID, like, at all. I know a lot of people were doing more than I was doing. And so my birthday was in May, and it was the first time I actually went out with friends, like, across the street to a really cool place. And we were there for 4 hours because I was finally out of the house.
Yeah.
Um, and now things are better.
Mm.
But, serious business. But to me, that connection, I can't explain it, but it's really about living life. It's really about having life experience. I get, I, sometimes I'm around places where there's casting people, and I never talk about myself. I'm talking about myself now, but at like a party or something, I absolutely would never do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would talk about, and it's been actually, somebody said to me, oh, she didn't even mention that. She said, yeah, she won't do that. Because that's not, when I was casting a lot, when you saw that actor walking towards you at a function, you were like, no, because they wanted something. You know, a smart actor comes over and goes, oh, I love your haircut. How are your holiday? You want to talk about life, not about acting. So that's really my biggest thing. I say all the time, go have experiences so you have something to act. How do you
Mm.
know how to act that if you have no life experience? And you're not going to get that this way. You're going to read about it, but go have that life
You're
experience.
100% right. Mm.
That to me is, you know, that was my, whenever I get a little bored, like, it's like, okay, I've done a lot of that. Now what? And that's where the mocap came from. I'm like, but I haven't done that. I could do that. It's
Yeah.
acting, you know. So I'm not far fetched enough. I'm not going to be dancing in the ballet, in the Nutcracker. But I think that if you put your foot forward and try to do something, first of all, something else can happen as a result of it. I didn't set out to be a director. I just needed a day job. As a voice as a voice actor.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
one day the lady who ran the company said to me, "I'm going to Disneyland with my girlfriend. Run the session." I'm like, "What?" Honestly, true story. Because I already knew what I was doing
Yeah,
as a voice actor. And literally that I was like, and the sound engineer said to me, "I got you." And then we became friends.
wow. Yeah.
And then I started directing. It was a really easy fit for me, but it's not something I aspired. It wasn't like, I'm going to do this. It was like, no, I need a job so I can go act. So it's very interesting. And I feel I'm grateful that I keep trying to remain open to do more things,
Yeah.
right? To, I don't know, maybe one day I'll sing in a show. I don't know. It's not something I'm actually looking for,
You
but
never
who
know.
knows?
You never know.
You don't know. There's no rules about this.
No.
When I started out as an actor, there were a lot more rules. It was the Procter Gamble they used to call PG, which of course I didn't fit, which meant, if you weren't PG, they were shaping me to look like that, but I really wasn't that. And so now there's no rules. So it's like it's the greatest time to be an actor. It
I've
honestly
heard
is.
that before from a lot of people.
There are no
No
you can
barriers
be
to entry. Yeah.
there's no barriers. You can be who you are.
Yeah.
There's such a freedom in that to allow who you are to come out through your work. You know,
Mm.
it's it's so for me because I had the other. Now it's like woohoo. So when I have characters like the Hag, I'm like, oh, and someone's paying me for this. So it's something that intrigues me more. They're they're not the I know what I'm right for and what I'm not right for. I always have a pretty good idea when I go up for something if I'm going to be one of the three being considered. You do at this stage, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I didn't give a good audition. It just means I don't know that I would hire me for this. I can do it, but I also know when I'm going to be. It's just a thing you feel.
Yeah.
You go, I'm going to be close for this. It's a weird thing. And then of course there's type. You know, there's if they want that. I went up for Shameless and I thought I gave a kick-ass audition. I was really like, and Shameless was going to be a little bit different for me because there was nudity and I was like, who wants to pay to they want to who wants to watch me take off my clothes? And
I know
I,
what you
I
mean.
said to my
Yeah.
manager, you sure you want me to go up for this? And she said, it's Shameless and it's a recurring part. Of course you're going up for it. And
Wow.
so then I put that idea out of my head. But the truth is, everybody was twice my size at the audition. There was me in my little red slip and my high heels. You have to play to your strengths. I'm not a big woman. And the person who they ended up hiring was really two of me.
Okay.
And I'm not calling her names, that she just was, they were going for a different look because they thought it would be, I watched the episode because it was a recurring
So you
part and I
think if
wanted
you
to
were
go.
bigger, you could have got the role?
Yeah, but I wouldn't, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So there's still a bit of that.
how
There
can you,
still is a bit of that in Hollywood and that.
it's a site, it's a gag. If you're using it for that reason, then it becomes a thing.
Mm.
I'm not going to do that to work. It's not who I am. But I definitely saw when I watched the episode, I went, oh, yeah, that's not what I brought to the role, because that's not who I am. I played her, I was like the sex person with her little red slip on. Not, it wasn't going to be a joke about weight.
Yeah.
So
Right.
there's that stuff that you have to consider. And honestly, sitting in on so many voiceover auditions, you really know when you hear it. It's fascinating. You'll have a tape of, whatever, 20 people, and there'll be those two. And you'll be like, it's going to be one of those.
That
It's
easy.
cr-
Yeah.
it's that easy.
Isn't
And
that
so
funny?
once I always say every actor should cast. They should find something to cast because you become a better actor and you become a better actor and a better voice actor. There's no question about it because you see what people are doing. You're like, why is that person doing that? Why is that person not doing that? And then you don't do that,
Do you notice the quality difference straight away as well? Like, do the cream of the crop stand out? Yeah.
Except I will tell you a story that happened once. I got a phone call at the studio from the UPN, from the big guys,
Yeah.
saying, we want the guy from the 11 to 2 spot on a radio station. And I went, do you know his name? They're like, no, but get him. I'm like, okay. So I call the radio station, and it was this lovely guy, Tom. And so I said, could I, I need to get in touch with Tom. Well, Tom hadn't really done voiceover, but they liked his voice. And Tom was also dyslexic. So Tom comes into the booth. We call him up. He comes into audition, and he's dyslexic. So he's reading things backwards and stuff. My boss got up and walked out the door. And so I was left to direct him. And I loved him because he was so funny. He got the whole account. It made her crazy because it's not who you would think. He would make mistakes that you can't direct somebody to do, and they
Yeah.
were funny. They were
Yeah.
funny.
Right. Right.
Now, he took his weakness and made it a strength.
Yeah.
And so then they wanted him to do that on everything, but he had that whole show account, and he quit his radio job.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's
He
crazy.
started working voiceover like crazy. So I always say to people, you don't know where that's coming from. You
Yeah.
don't know. You have to be ready. You have to be trained, and you have to be available. So it's that whole thing of training meets opportunity meets luck.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy thing. I could have, I guess, just as easily not been on this, you know, and but I went after it. It's not somebody didn't get me this appointment. I got myself this appointment. So I didn't wait for somebody to get me this appointment. So I
Mm.
think that's also what I say to people. I said, what do you want to do?
Get out there.
Then go do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Find a way,
Yeah.
just like you started your show and it's such a great, you're good at it, you know? Not everybody's good at it, you know?
Mm.
It, so I think we all find where we're supposed to land, you know?
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Are there any upcoming projects you can talk about with us, Carol, or is everything locked up? We just got to stay
There's some
tuned.
names and I can't talk about them. I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
Are
It,
they this year, next year, soon?
everything got weird with the COVID thing. Although I was working in the studio, I was still finishing actually Wasteland 3 and I was dubbing a movie during COVID. And honestly, I felt the safest in the studios. The rules
Yeah.
were so strict. I felt so safe there. It was just you and the sound engineer, nobody else in the building. I mean, it was great. I was like, you have to buzz to get in. So, um, so we were working during them, but there are two things, but yeah. So I don't want to get into any trouble.
No, no,
Um, but
all
I'll
good.
keep you informed.
Please do.
Uh,
No,
yeah, I
I'm looking forward
absolutely
to it.
will.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I think the last couple hours have flown by, Carol.
Oh my gosh, have I talked that long?
I just looked at the time. I couldn't believe it. But
I
that's when
get
you
that
know
from
it's a
my
great
mom, I
convo.
guess.
Hey,
Yeah.
what was
It's the
that?
Italian part of me, I
Ah,
guess.
yeah. Um, so are you on any socials that can I plug anything of yours? Is it your website?
Well, when I do my Instagram, I'll let you know. I'm terrible. It's a bad thing of me. And I did post what you sent me, though. I'm like, you have to post this. And some of my friends know that I'm bad at it. So they're like, I posted it and my manager posted it, but I did post it.
Oh,
But I have to get better at it, and I know it. I was talking to a guy who works a lot in animation, and he said to me, "Carol, I just lost a job." And it doesn't get bigger than him. He said, "I just lost a job because somebody had more followers than me."
wow.
He said, "We're in that world now.
Yeah.
Step in." So I have to get a little better at that, and I know it. It's not one of my,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You'll work
It's
on it.
just not
That's all right.
something I'm great at,
Yeah.
talking about myself. I mean, I'm talking about myself today, but I typically, I'm not a person who like posts on Facebook every day, like, look at me. And I just don't. But I
Yeah.
did post this because I'm like, this is
Oh,
special.
thank you,
You know,
Carol.
like,
Thank you, Carol. I appreciate it.
and I have to look at it that way. I, I know some people that post, I planted a rose today, it's like, I don't care, so I'm careful about, I support my friends, and I'm not saying don't post, but I'm saying I don't need to know what you're doing every minute of the day.
No. Yeah.
Um, so I've kind of gotten this weird thing, but I know I need to get better at it, because then I'll attract Call of Duty.
That's it.
And I know that because it's the world about that now. So when I have something to tell you, you will be the first to know.
Oh, thanks, Carol. Well, I look forward to interviewing you when you're the lead character in the next Call of Duty. Hey?
Thank you.
How does that sound?
Yeah, I like your idea, Lieutenant. I like the
Yeah.
corporal. I
Oh,
like
I
that.
think you'd be perfect for it.
I see it.
Seriously.
And
You'd be a badass.
I have a friend who's doing some sound engineer for it, so we're getting
Oh,
closer.
okay. Keep him close.
Oh, he's a great guy. He's a great friend, and a good sound engineer too, but a great friend as well.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much, Carol, for coming on.
Oh,
I
thank
do need
you.
a favor from you before I let you go, if that's all right.
Sure.
Is there anything the prophetess, the hag, can say about Dan as we wrap this one up?
Cool.
Improv scene.
Oh, Dan. You'll know more about him if you watch his show.
Oh, I love that laugh. I love that laugh. That is such a good laugh. Oh, amazing. Oh, thank you, Carol. Thanks so much for taking the time out today. I know you're a busy woman, so we all
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. It was
Everyone's
a
had
pleasure. I
nothing but
love your
nice things
show.
to say in the
It was
chat.
a
So
pleasure. Thank you.
no, beautiful. Well, I look
Bye,
forward to it.
everybody who's watching, if they're still here.
Oh, they are. They are. They're saying thank you so much. That laugh's epic. Amazing laugh, amazing voice. Thank you, Carol, for coming on. Bye, Carol. Sweet lady, excellent interview. Nice as ever. So if you're ever feeling down, Carol, just come back to this and you'll get a kick.
Well, when I do my Instagram page, Dan, I'll post it on there.
Just let me know and I'll help you out.
Thank you. Thanks, I appreciate it. And thanks so much.
Nah, my
What
pleasure.
time is it? What time is it where you are?
9:45 a.m.
At night.
No, a.m. a.m.
Oh, AM. I'm
Yeah,
so
so
confused.
I've kicked off the day beautifully talking to you.
Oh, yeah. So you started early.
Yeah. That's how I like to do it. So, no. All good, Carol. I'll let you go, but
Well,
I
I'll keep
really
watching you.
you
All
better.
right. Take care, Dan.
You too. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
There you have it, everybody. Carol. Absolute